You seem to have some involvement with the new High Limit series. Is that was that after the sort of weed sport thing, incident, or is that something that you've been knowing about for a long time and wanted to be involved? Where did that all come about?
I didn't really know about the high limit deal all too much. Obviously, you hear about it a little bit here and there, and
Sure.
it kind of just timed out with the weed sport incident with my deal and the high limit deal, and basically it wasn't. That was just kind of the tipping point for me, and I wanted to do a high limit deal at Wayne County because it's going to be the highest paying race that my local track's probably ever going to have, and unless we are keep doing these high limit races. So for me it was more of, I want to have a big paying race at my local track and get some of the best guys we can there. So and I want to be able to keep doing that and maybe grow that event bigger and bigger, because the Outlaws are not going to go back to my local track probably ever again. So for me, that's the next best thing that I'm able to do.
Do you want to run with the Outlaws full time? Is that the perfect situation and they just allow you to do some more races? Where do you guys stand on that? Do you stand together as teams and drivers on wanting the same stuff?
It's tough. I feel like, yeah, we all stand together and we want the same stuff. I feel like everybody wants to race the Outlaws. That's what we all grew up wanting to do. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, NASCAR drivers aren't scheduled to just race NASCAR races, and we just want a little bit of freedom, and we feel like the pay needs to come up, and it's paid 10 grand my whole life, 30 years. It's paid pretty much the same, and that ain't right. Back in the day when they won 50 grand, they probably felt like heroes. Paying $1 for fuel to get there, and now we're paying $6 a gallon for fuel. So to me, it just, it's all not really making sense, and especially now with the live coverage and how many more people we got watching rather than just showing up to the track. To me, the numbers don't add up.
Is it your decision? You joined Stenhouse Junior Marshall Racing, like you said, 5 years ago, and that was when they were already running with the Outlaws. If they decided that they wanted to do something different, do you just go in with what they want to do, or how does that work?
Usually it's a team decision, and we haven't even really sat down and talked about what our goals are for next year or our plans officially. So for us, it's still pretty much up in the air, and kind of waiting to see what the Outlaws schedule looks like, what their contracts look like, and kind of go from there.
When I crewed with the Outlaws back in 2014, so it's almost a decade ago, I remember a lot of the teams saying, we don't want to race during the week, that we need like a bit of a break, or we don't want to do 70, 80, 90 races a year. We just want to do 60 shows, and we want them to be bigger shows. And then when the Outlaws cut races, then it's like, oh, we got so much time in between during the week. Why don't we go, race somewhere else up the road that's putting on some big money? Where do you stand with that? Do you really want to race more, or would you like to race 60 shows and them all to be decent size?
I mean, it goes both ways. I feel like I want to race as much as possible if it makes sense. So, if we drive all the way out to California, but we only race on the weekends and have 6 races scheduled, that makes no sense to me. I'd schedule 14 races, hope to race 8 to 10 of them because of weather, and make that trip worth it. I wouldn't go out there just for 6 races. 2 of them get rained out, and then that's a lot of driving. But I see it both ways. I feel like, yeah, if you can make a 60 race schedule and have bigger events at nicer facilities that make a little bit more sense, yeah, that's all good. But they'd have to pay really well throughout the whole field to make it financially make sense. So me as a driver, I need to race as much as possible to make a good living. So I would, if we could get a 90 race schedule and our minimum win was up to 20,000, that would make way more sense to me financially.